Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ryan Lamar, the host of the Youth Leaders in Wealth Management podcast. Today, I'm joined by Tim Daly, a senior analyst at WealthStream Advisors. Tim, how are you doing? Super excited to get the opportunity to have a conversation with you here. So, I kind of wanted to open the floor by asking about how did you come about pursuing a career in wealth management? What drove you down that road?
So I started my career off in wealth management. When I was in school, I studied criminal justice and then added accounting later on in my college career. Ended up in a Big Four and then realized that the Big Four life was not for me. So being a CPA by trade and doing tax returns, I saw that there was kind of an avenue to go into wealth management. And I'm very interested in personal finance. It kind of started off as a hobby and then it became kind of a career path. So here I am now. I also really enjoy helping people, and a career in wealth management allows me to help my clients and also help like friends and family too. I mean, everyone has financial questions, and you can help kind of anyone from like coming right out of college. What are your financial questions to wealthy clients that WealthStream would have?
Yeah, and I like how you said
Hmm.
it started off as a hobby and then get it into
Hmm.
something that you realize you can do full time to help people. I feel like I had a similar path and why I decided to come down this road that I was doing this on my own and I felt like I really enjoyed the personal finance aspects, learning what was the right,
Hmm.
correct methods to do things. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, maybe I should do this as a career. But I also wanted to ask about. I know you didn't go directly from college into a wealth management job, but what type of career resources were available to you while you were still in college when it comes to helping you find those first couple jobs?
So number one for me was just the Career Planning Center at my college. I went to a school called King's College in Northeast PA. Very, very small school. So we had 2,000 to 2,400 students. And the Career Center helped me get all my interviews for jobs and allowed me, or helped with my resume as well. Because, I mean, we're not always fluent with resumes and have someone there that helped me with resumes, helped me with interviews, helped me prep for interviews as well. So they were kind of like a full stop shop as well. And then in addition to the Career Center, just talking with people that were alumni of King's as well and seeing how their career paths went. Being a smaller school, people are willing to talk to you because I feel like those connections are a little bit greater than maybe when you go to a school that has like 20, 30, 40,000 students. So just utilizing those resources, the Career Center, alumni, also just getting to know the professor as well too. Um, yeah, I mean, I would recommend like those three things for any student in college.
Yeah, so I feel like I have a similar story here at Binghamton, taking advantage of the career resources. It's so important at school to be able to do as much as you can, as much as they provide.
Yeah.
But the biggest qualm I have with a lot of schools is that there's not a lot of specific wealth management career resources, right? So
Hmm.
it's a little bit more of a niche field, and when it comes to the regular finance, there's a lot of sales and trading, investment banking, private equity resources, but not too much wealth management. And that's kind of
Hmm.
what drove me to create Youth Leaders in Wealth Management, to give an opportunity for kids that are interested in going down that path to have a little bit of a different career resource outside of the general stuff that the universities are
Hmm.
providing right now. So I'm glad you took advantage of the alumni and the career resources because you take advantage as much as you can. The alumni, especially, is a great opportunity to connect with people that are in your relevant industry and can get that relevant experience, hopefully. Um,
Hmm.
but use as much of the resources as possible.
Yeah,
So
and I agree that
I wanted
the
to
this.
ask a question about.
Mhm.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I was just going to add that. So you mentioned that the schools do great with like investment banking and maybe even accounting in like the case of King's College. But financial planning, you're not really, at least I wasn't open to the opportunities in financial planning in school. To me, financial planning was going to work at like a Mass Mutual or Northwest Mutual and selling insurance. And frankly, I did an internship with Mass Mutual, and I did a lot of cold calling. I tried to try to sell insurance, and it was just not for me. The main thing I got out of the internship was knowing that I didn't want to do it the rest of my life. So just kind of doing more research as I got into the professional world, seeing that, financial planning, there's a lot of different ways to go. I mean, you could be that person that sells insurance, or you could be a person that gets your CFP or gets your CPA and does holistic financial planning like we do at Gulfstream. So, helping with tax planning, helping with investment advice, helping kind of be the CFO of, the client relationship and working closely with families and helping them live their best lives. And I think when I learned that that was the opportunities available in financial planning, that's when it clicked to me that, oh, this is something I could pursue and do for a living, not just kind of be a hobby anymore.
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head there. Being a personal CFO for a client
Hmm.
and being really able to provide advice that's holistic and takes into all accounts. Like having a CPA background is so great in the sense that tax planning comes much easier than a traditional financial advisor with no tax experience and no accounting background.
Hmm.
And I think that's kind of where the industry is going. The synergies between the CPAs and the financial advisors to provide a next level of advice, making sure that they're both in the room when we're talking about making decisions. So you guys are already way ahead of that on the when it comes to having you as both of those seats right there. So that's great. So I wanted to ask a little bit about WealthStream Advisor. So what are your primary responsibilities at WealthStream?
Responsibility. That's probably the case for most wealth management firms or financial planners is client communication and client tasks. So the clients are the people that, keep the lights on at the end of the day and pay the bills. So if a client is sending you an email or wanting to set up a call to talk about something, and then, you know, there's follow-ups after that meeting, making sure they're communicating effectively with the clients, getting those tasks done in an effective manner that either answers the client question or provides them with more information about this particular topic. So that's definitely number one. Number two would be meeting prep. So we're not always having the client reach out to us. We're reaching out to the clients at these meetings, whether it be kind of their annual checkup or their biannual checkup, things like that. So doing prep for the meetings, also doing research. There we have a financial planning committee at Wellstream that helps us look into new ways that we could be, doing planning for clients. We have an investment committee that's looking at different investment options that we could implement for clients as well. So, and then the last thing is helping the younger folks at the firm as well. So I've been with Wall Street for almost 3 years now. And so then there's kind of like classes below me, I'll call them. And we actually just had two new people start, I think it was last week or week before that. So working with them to help them get onboarded and make sure that they understand like the Wellstream way. So there's a lot of kind of different hats that we wear, but it makes the job more interesting.
Yeah, definitely more interesting.
Mhm.
And I'm glad that you have some more like defined responsibilities in the sense that you know exactly what you should be doing, and there's not a mix up with what is going on. So I appreciate the
Mhm.
insight on what's going on there. And then I wanted to ask you about challenges. So, what are some challenges that you've faced in your role or previous role that you've overcome through, in adversity that you've conquered?
Mhm. It sounds like there's two kind of main challenges that I want to chat about, and one is the seasonality of the job. So right now, at least for us, the summer is generally a slower time of year. There's a lot of clients that are on vacation, or just people want to enjoy being outside while we have nice weather in the Northeast. So what that means is that towards the end of the year, things pick up a little bit, and then towards the beginning of next year into I'd say probably about April, we're definitely a lot busier. So it's managing that workload and realizing that okay, maybe you're going to be putting in longer hours from September to December while you're doing tax planning and having a lot of client meetings. And then also maybe putting in longer hours from, say, January to April because you're going to be doing a lot of tax planning and a lot of work with the client CPAs. And then beyond kind of those time crunches, also when you started in the career path, you may think that all clients want to be talked to the same way or that everyone communicates in the same way. That is not the case. There are some clients that really want to dig into the weeds and really want to know everything about their plan and everything about the investments and everything about tax planning and all these things. And then there's some clients that, they have accumulated their wealth over time just from, doing a good job saving over the years, and they're not as financially savvy. And a lot of times those clients will rely on us to kind of provide them with recommendations, provide them with advice, and just have full faith that we're going to make the right decision for them. And having those two, like that wide spectrum of clients where this person wants to know everything to know about everything, and then this client just wants to be knowledgeable and have you ultimately provide the recommendation and implement it for them, and being able to speak with all those people from on either end of the spectrum and in between can be challenging, definitely at first, and it's definitely something that I'm personally still working on because I have a communication style, but you have to kind of mimic the communication style of that particular client to make sure that they're getting the best experience that they can have with Wallstream.
Yeah, communication styles are important too, right? And
Mm-hmm.
going back to what you said about some people are into the details. They want to
Mm-hmm.
know everything that's going on with the plan and all the little intricate steps that you guys are taking. And then other people are just like, I trust you, just do what you got
Mm-hmm.
to do. And learning how to manage the difference between the two of those type of clients
Mm-hmm.
is something that comes with experience. So how would you say you've learned how to manage the expectations with both of those types of clients?
So I would say a lot of it just comes with reps. I mean, when I first started, you don't know the clients. We're at least the way the Gulfstream works is that you start off as an analyst if you're coming in fresh out of school or a career changer, and then you'll eventually work up to an advisor. But you're given a client list, and on that client list, you're going to have clients along that spectrum. And at first, you're going to probably be scared to talk to some of those clients because you don't know what they're like or what their communication style is. But then I mentioned before, I've been here for almost 3 years. I've met with all the clients now multiple times, if not meeting them in person, meeting them over Zoom. So you kind of pick up on how to communicate with them over time. And then as you bring new clients in, just working on communication style with them as well. And it's an ever changing kind of evolution because clients will change over time. Your style will change over time as well, just as you become more comfortable in your career or as you learn new things as well. So just learning along the way and evolving along the way to make sure that you're providing a good experience to clients and that you're doing the best job that you can.
Yeah, and that's really it. Right? Just making sure that you are putting your full effort forward.
Mm-hmm.
These people are trusting you with almost their entire net worth sometimes, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of responsibility, right? So making sure that you are providing the best advice, the best experience, the best effort that you can, and putting your full being into a plan, or making sure a client can really send their kid to college or hit that goal is really
Mm-hmm.
important. So just a little off topic, but is there any good like books or stuff like that that you've had on communication that you would recommend?
So in terms of communication, there's nothing that comes to mind right away. I mean, I'm a big advocate of learning. So I've read lots of financial planning books and I've listened to a lot of podcasts. Not so much about communication, but like the psychological part of finance. I mean, Morgan Housel does a great job of breaking those topics down, and that's definitely helped me learn how different people think differently, or how different people think about money in different ways. So that's definitely been helpful. But there's nothing specifically. It's like, use this script or, say these
No,
words.
yeah,
A,
yeah.
a lot of it's just like I said before, just getting reps and understand. And quite frankly, learning from the more senior advisors. So the way that works at Wellstream is that we have a senior advisor or just financial advisor on every relationship, and we have an analyst. So every meeting I'm going into, there's at least two people in there. And so I'm learning from them, they're learning from me, and then we can collaborate as a team to make sure that we're providing that great experience for the client.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, right?
Mhm.
The best experience for the client. But the
Right.
book you were talking about is Psychology of Money, right? So great book. I definitely
Mhm.
recommend that. Morgan Housel's that, and Same as Ever, both two excellent
Mhm.
books. I think
Yeah.
kind of on the psychology side, but really about money and the whole world. So great books, great listens.
Mhm.
So I appreciate you giving us that recommendation. And then
Mhm.
I kind of wanted to ask about the industry as a whole. So how do you feel that the financial advising industry has changed over the time that you've been in the industry? I know it hasn't been super extensive, but how have you seen things already change with the rise of artificial intelligence and other technology advancements?
So I think you put a great caveat in there saying I've only been in the industry for 3 years, so it's hard to see a ton of change. But I'll go back to the holistic planning and kind of touching all aspects of the client's financial advice or financial life. Back in the 20, 30, 40 years ago, the financial planner was the guy that dealt with investments or the girl that dealt with investments. And now we're dealing with the client's full financial picture and making sure that we have the know-how to deal with everything. And if we don't have that know-how, to be able to provide them with a specialist that does have that know-how. And it's hard to work in the business right now and only do investments because there's so much more the clients want, and there's so much more that you can provide to clients. So that's what the change that I kind of have seen just in doing research on the past of financial planning. Um, and then obviously we're going to see how AI comes into all of this as it becomes more prevalent in the industry, in this industry and in all industries as well. And we'll see if that's a major disruptor or if it's because I know when the robo advisors came out, like the portfolio management robo advisors, people thought, this is going to take over the industry. People aren't going to want advisors anymore. That didn't end up happening. So now we'll see if, people are going to be using AI for their financial planning and whether that tries to disrupt what we do or if it doesn't, or if it's more similar to the robo advisor that it's not really going to change much.
Yeah, time will really tell on that end.
Mm-hmm.
We got no clue what it will do, but what I still think is that there's a huge psychological part to money,
Mm-hmm.
and investments and all of that, your entire net worth. To give that completely over to a computer in
Mm-hmm.
reality is a tough pill to swallow. Yeah, the AI might get a lot better, but to just rely completely on code for your
Mm-hmm.
entire net worth is a daunting kind of idea, in the sense that I don't know if I would be willing to do that. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
the people are going to want to do that. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I do still think that this industry has a lot of ways to become more efficient with the use of
Mm-hmm.
artificial intelligence first,
Sure.
before it becomes that it's this type of job is completely taken by AI, which I can't really
Mm-hmm.
imagine it would, because at the end of the day, it it uses large language models, which is just pools of data. We can't get it to we have no idea how the human brain works on a macro level, right? So it runs on simulated neural networks, which are just like simulations of how our neurons fire to each other. So if we can't figure out how to make a model of this thing in our head, I'm not sure how much farther AI can get,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to thinking. And now it's just at bay of what humans have done and the data that it's put in the system. And there still needs to be humans to provide that data and to oversee to make sure it's doing the right thing, because there's still hallucinations, in the sense that if you ask it something after a chain of something else, it can just start making things up because it wants to give
Mm-hmm.
the right answer. So we'll see how that changes over the course of the next 5, 10, 20 years. So excited to see
Yeah,
where it goes for sure.
yeah. And you mentioned the kind of psychological portion of it. I read a study recently about the value that an advisor adds, and they talk about rebalancing, helping with create tax efficient investment strategies. But the biggest value add in that study was helping clients deal with the day-to-day changes in their financial life. So whether it be, a 2020, market decline of 30, 40 plus percent in 2 weeks, and helping like talk the client through not selling out of the portfolio if it's not the right thing to do for them, or just providing them with peace of mind knowing that we're not letting anything slip through the cracks and making sure that everything is taken care of for them. So I'm not sure that AI would be able to talk to the client in that way, but another person can talk to the client.
Yeah, can it really give empathy
Hmm.
and be meaningful? That's a
Hmm.
hard question to
Yeah,
answer. Who knows
yeah.
what will happen down the road? And I wanted to ask you about some of the most rewarding aspects of your job. So, what would you say is the most rewarding part of being an analyst and an advisor over at Wellstream?
I think it goes back to the point I made before of helping people. So at Wellstream, like our kind of goal is to help people live their best lives. I mean, that was my goal even before I came to Wellstream, but there was definitely some synergy with me coming on a few years back. So seeing clients, do what they want to do or do what they said they're going to do, whether it be traveling when they retire or traveling when they're still working, or buying that piece of property where they can have family gatherings at, really just making sure that we're viewing the client's goals or looking at the client's goals and trying to make those goals a reality.
Yeah, it's uh it's a lot of goal based systems, right?
Hmm.
And creating the more financial planning aspects that are rising in the industry are goal based holistic financial planning,
Hmm.
right? So to be able to create these systems that help people achieve those big goals, to retire, to send their kid to college, to be able to buy a second home, or to be
Hmm.
able to finance their first home in the beginning. These are good goals that you're going to help people accomplish that they wouldn't necessarily be able to accomplish without you. So I think that's helping families, that's helping people. And at the end of the
Hmm.
day, if you're not helping people, that's just not a job that I would want to do, right? And it seems like you're the same way, that helping
Hmm.
people is a big priority. Having the heart of a social worker and the mind of a capitalist is a great way to put
Hmm.
this job. You want to take care of yourself, you want to take care of others, and I think this is just the perfect career opportunity to do so.
And that's also helping clients realize what their goals are too. So many clients that we deal with have done a great job just saving over their lives, but they're like, what's the end of this, or what's the means to the end? And having that conversation, asking them those open-ended questions to get to those goals, to realize like this is what I want to do with my life, post work or even changing careers to do something that's more meaningful to them, is that if you can have those conversations to provide that kind of aha moment, seeing it at the end when the plan comes together and they're able to do what they want to do and live their best life, it's really rewarding to see that.
Yeah, definitely. Super rewarding. And it's something that I look forward to as I get through my career journey and get to the point where I'm in front of clients. So I'm excited
Mhm.
for that time to come.
Mhm.
And as we kind of get towards the end of our time here, I wanted to ask one final question. You have some hindsight, being out of college for a little bit of time now, seeing how the industry has changed and swapping career paths and all that. So, what would be some advice that you would give to the next generation of financial advisors and people in the wealth management industry to take while they're still in college, as they come out and start their careers? What would you do, knowing what you know now?
Sure. So, I mean, the number one thing, I actually talk to freshmen at my alma mater every semester, and the one thing that I always tell them to do is you need to learn how to learn. And what I mean by that is saying there's so many ways to take in information and to retain information, whether it be reading, podcasts, going to classes, things like that. Figure out the way that you enjoy learning and then take that and use that going forward to learn different topics and learn different things. The financial planning industry in particular, if you do not keep up with your continuing education, like it's gonna be hard to provide value to clients going forward. And it'll be hard to have some client conversations if you're not keeping up with, new rules and regulations. A great example is last week or before that, the new the finalized regulations came out for Secure Act 2.0, 1.0. It's like if you're not keeping up with that, you're not sure what those changes are. The TCJA is due to sunset next year. If you're not keeping up with that stuff, it's going to be hard to have those client conversations as well. So figuring out the best way to learn in your point of view is definitely number one. I think number two is being able to figure out your best way of communicating with people as well. And don't be afraid to have conversations with people because everyone has a story and everyone likes to talk about themselves, and just getting to know people, because at the end of the day, this is a relationship business and you want to be able to create those relationships. And then I guess finally, especially since this is financial planning can be more of a sales related industry when you're trying to bring on new clients to create more revenue, create more opportunity for yourself, create more opportunity for people below you. But just coming out of college and when you're in college, don't be so sales focused unless you absolutely have to be. Like if your life depends on it, then obviously, be more sales focused. But when you're coming out of college, just work on relationship building. Like plant those seeds now, and then who knows, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, that relationship that you were just getting to know someone could become a client, could become a good referral source for you. And then so just being a human being to other people and getting to know them better, and then seeing where it goes from there. My wife will always tell me like, you could talk to anyone. You could talk to like paint on the wall. I was like, yeah, I mean, everyone's got a story. Everyone wants to talk about themselves, and it's interesting to learn about people. And you never know who you're going to meet either, which is exciting. Yeah.
That's really great advice. It's so important to stay learning, to continue to learn. It's being a lifelong learner is the best way to describe it. And those who will not just sit on their hands and be like, all right, well, I've learned as much as I could and continue. It's just not the industry where you can do that, where you can learn once and then just continue to do it. You got to stay up to date. And being able to communicate with people is so important. Talking to paint on the wall is pretty funny, but to be able to do something like that is a great skill. And it's important to be able to build relationships and be a good human. And at the end of the day, that's what this is about for me, and it seems like for you as well. Just being a good human first, and using the knowledge and the drive, the interest in personal finance to help people accomplish their goals and find their goals, like you said. So. Tim, thank you so much for coming on. I had a great conversation with you, and I'm so excited for everybody to take a listen to this podcast. There's going to be a lot of kids, I hope, that can really get some value from the things that you've said today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, Ryan.
Thank you so much. And, I'll include your LinkedIn in the description. If there's anything else that you want to promote, please do so. And if not, thank you for coming on.